here to kick off the Creative Design Team's June collaboration for 2023. We are going to show you how to scrap lift like a pro during this series. I have decided to scrap lift a layout that Jayma has created right here. And Jayma actually drew her inspiration directly from the Close to My Heart catalog. Now, she saw this beautiful layout here and just thought it would work perfectly for her pictures. And since Close to My Heart doesn't give instructions on some of the layouts that are just shown as artwork in our catalogs, Jayma has tried to figure out how to recreate this layout. So although she went pretty close to the layout for her design, she definitely added a lot to it because she taught us how to create the layout over here in her YouTube video. YouTube is just one of the places that we can draw inspiration from. We can get inspiration from Pinterest, from Facebook groups, or just Google images, catalogs, magazines. Inspiration surrounds us. Now, I love using inspiration as a starting point, and maybe my mind even goes to using more than one form of inspiration. I might love the layout like this, but I want to change it to a different paper pack. What that paper pack provides or what the coordinating stamps provide will change the inspiration. You know, I'll add bits and pieces of inspiration and it's going to come together in a page that is just totally my own. So the first thing that I do when I have somebody's layout like Jayma's that I want to use is I generally try to reach out to them and see if it's okay. If it's somebody that I know, I'll message them or I'll leave a little comment and see if it's okay. Now, I don't copy their layouts. Like I said, I don't copy element for element because copying isn't the same as inspiration to me. So if I can't get them and I go ahead and I use their layout as inspiration, I'm always just trying to mention where I have gotten the inspiration and who the artist is. And so in this case, Jayma gave me total permission to go ahead and do her layout. So we are going to do her layout, but we're going to make some changes. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you the collection that we're going to use. And here are the photos that I have. This is my daughter, Katie, and my husband. And gosh, this has to be 25 years ago these photos were taken. And so I've not scrapbooked them. And they're really vibrant for photos that were taken 25 years ago. And I really thought that they would pair so beautifully with Hello Darlin. So I have some scraps left of Hello Darlin. And you might notice that right at the moment, it's not in stock, but Close to My Heart promises us that they are bringing it back. Now, the Hello Darlin collection included a scrapbooking workshop kit, which you see here, and I've completed all 3 of these pages. However, whenever I get the chance to like gut some paper, like this red paper here with these little stars or bursts, I've gutted the center of this to save some paper so that I have it to work with future projects. Let me show you what I have that we can work with. First of all, I have a handful of Picture My Life cards that my dear friend Barb sent me as a little gift in the mail. So I don't have all of them, but look, I have some really, really cute elements and I've got a good title going on here. Look at that smile. I think that will work perfectly. So we have those. I have just a piece of candy apple red. This is a piece of custom cardstock that came from that kit, but it's left so I can use it. So you won't find this in the regular paper pack with stickers. This is just something a little different. Here you go. Here's the inside that I mentioned I gutted of the double layout. And then I was left with this paper, and you'll see that these little bursts are the backside of this beautiful blue, sapphire blue floral paper. We've got a full sheet of striped with the little, I don't know, I call them bursts on the back. And then we've got some assorted little scraps, and I do have a few stickers and a few punch out stars that were left over from the kit, and that's what we're going to work with. So let's get started. We are ready to start building our layout. First, I wanted to point out a couple of things. Here is that Hello Darlin collection. The Picture My Life cards, as I mentioned, I have right here, and I've cut those. And I have also cut some elements out of this digital art collection for Hello Darlin. Now, I brought everything in at the size that it came in the Hello Sunshine title I thought would work really well. So what I did with that was I cut it out of Candy Apple Red, just like you see it here. And I also did an offset. I did an offset with the white, and then I went one bigger and did an offset with the sapphire. You'll see that the sapphire actually ended up bumping into each other and the white was apart, but I love the way it turned out. So we are going to use that title. I did put some foam tape in the middle of the sapphire and white layer to give it a little dimension. I love when our titles are popped up just a bit. And then, although I really love these roses that are featured here on the collection, I wanted to go for something that wasn't really fireworks, wasn't really romantic rose. So I saw these two little pieces right there. I'm going to lift this up into the camera and hope that you can see it. So right here and right here. And I cut those out. I did an offset on this red one, which gave me a white backing. So I've just glued those two pieces together. I have done red with sapphire, and we're supposed to have a little red center. However, I'm going to put some silver glitter gems on there, but I popped these up. And then I've just cut some tiny ones out of some honey butter and out of some white. We'll see where they all land. I just made a plethora of those. Speaking of plethoras, I also cut up the Picture My Life cards, and I cut up some of the remaining cardstock from my scrapbooking kit like I told you I had. And this is where it's sometimes helpful. Jayma went ahead and cut her squares at 2 inches because, again, Close to My Heart didn't give us a recipe for that layout that you saw in Hello and Hey Handsome. So Jayma cut them at 2 inches and found that she was hanging off a bit. So I decided to do some math. You know that a squared plus b squared equals c squared? Tried to figure out what c square needed to be. So I knew I had 11 inches here because I've now trimmed my white cardstock down to an 11 by 11 inch piece. And so I knew that when I divided 11 inches by 4, I had to have something that was about 2.75 inches to make this work. So I backtracked and I did the math, and I found that 1 15/16 was the appropriate measurement to make these squares work. So you know, when you question whether or not you're ever going to use algebra in the future or geometry, I actually used geometry today and it worked to our benefit. So I've learned from Jayma, and it is now 1 15/16 of an inch. So again, I've cut this paper down, and I have also taken a sapphire blue sheeted cardstock and I've gutted it. Now, Jayma went over this in her video. It means that you simply turn the paper, go between 1 and 11 inches, 1 inch in, turn the paper and do the same thing, 11 and 1, being 1 inch in, until you get rid of the middle of the paper. And then you can use the paper to back your photos or make little squares like I've done here. One thing I also learned from Jayma's video was that she attached the white paper on top of her blue, sapphire blue background right away, and she kind of regretted it because she had to do some trimming. So I'm not going to go ahead and adhere anything to that sapphire paper until we go ahead and adhere these little squares down. So I'm just going to bring in my Versamat because I just find that it's easy to work with the Versamat. We're just going to run a little tape down here, and I'm going to lay this down. Now, like I told you, I went ahead and kind of laid these out just a bit to make sure I liked the flow. Jayma was great with following the pattern in the book because she was working just with the Hello Handsome cardstock and some coordinating cardstock. I had lots of patterns when I went into those, into the Picture My Life cards. So I just want to use those. And I'm just going to see where this goes. I think we're going to run down the 1.5 inch line here. So I'm going to start with this. I'm just going to glue down the first one about 1/8 of an inch from the top of the cardstock, and we're going to try to run down this 1/2 inch line. Now I do have my T-square ruler over here if I need to keep things straight or check on them. So let's see if we went fairly straight here. Just want to make sure that my points kind of line up on the 1.5 inch line, and they are good to go, I would say. The next thing I'm going to do is do the bottom one down here. And this is out of that special paper that came right from the scrapbooking kit that you can only get in that kit. It's a specially designed paper. So I'm going to use a T-square, and I can see right through that I've lined this one up. Next will be this beautiful little rose paper. And then lastly will be this red plaid. So I'm going to flip that over and just get that ready over here. Okay. So the red plaid paper is going to go right 1/8 of an inch under this cardstock right here. I'm not going to give this a good push down yet because I just want to make sure that my spacing is about right when I put in my next piece right here. And I feel like I have just a little bit more of a gap at the top or at the bottom. I have more room to fill. So I'm just going to tighten this up by moving this down just a touch. Once we construct this first row of pieces, I think that the whole thing is going to become so much easier. So I'm just centering that remaining piece between these two, and the spacing looks like it's pretty even. Now the rest of the pieces should fall into line fairly easily. So I'm just going to put the video into fast forward, and then we'll come back at the very end so I could show you what I've done. All that I did once I placed that first row here along that 1.5 inch mark, I just then went and placed the pieces so that they all were in a line. So by doing that, I didn't have to measure again. It became really quick. But I wanted to show you how to get the last corner pieces. So I have my Cricut cutter here because that's what I had on my desk down here, and it works fairly well. What I do is I line up the diagonal points here, and they are now in the guide, and I snap this into place. And I like this one because it really is secure. I'm sure that my steel cutting Fiskars would work as well, but I always start right in the middle. And the reason that I do that, start in the middle, push up, start in the middle, and come down, is because if I tried to go in from either end, I would push that little corner point into the middle and it wouldn't work. So that's how I cut my triangle pieces. And now we are going to just use one of the lines that is along my grid here and make sure that this is running perpendicular to my cut. So my point is on the line right there on the cutting line, and my paper is running directly across here. I'm going to push this up into the middle once again, click down into place, and we are going to push up and then come to the center and push down. And we have these perfect little cuts that are now 1/4 of that square, and we can in fact just turn these and they should fit perfectly into our corners. So in fact, I think we're going to put this one right here, and we will put this one right up there. Now I think it's okay if we go ahead and keep on assembling this part of the layout, this portion. I actually don't want to attach it to my outer frame yet because I'm going to probably do a little stamping, and I don't want an uneven background here. So I'm going to keep it flat and attach it as far into the future as we possibly can. You'll see that there's some guy here in the background. I don't want that guy. So I think our photos are going to go kind of like this, because I want to cut off as much of that man in the background and just make Ed and Katie the focus. And I do like having the placement about here. I think the title is going to go, oh, we'll put the title right about here. Now this is what I'm talking about, making it your own. Jayma and the catalog had the title right here, but I actually don't want to put little stickers. I think I want to fill this in. And in fact, I might even just sneak one more piece here into the corner. I just think that that would finish off my little layout like so. Now I know they're not going to go all the way up and down, but I just feel like it's going to give us a little texture right under our title. And so I feel like it's going to anchor this page just a bit more. I just love that. I think this is going to look really cute right there. And again, you're not noticing that square. It doesn't feel like it's, you know, creating a row here that's missing something. You can barely see it behind there, but I just don't have that stark white space, and I kind of like it. Now I think I'm going to put some foam tape on here, and there was a little tiny title right here off of my sticker sheet that said Good Times. And I think that that might pair well right up here. I think that would look kind of fun. So we have a few options, and I really think I like that one. That one's lots of fun, don't you think? So I think, yeah, I do like this. Now, it's kind of right here. So I'm going to just give that a good little trim. I think actually we're going to go from red to red. I think the red is a good contrast. Before I put down any of the flowers though, I do want to add some stamping. I'm going to just do a little stamping down here. And what I'm going to do is actually pull in, this is Hello Darlin Scrapbooking Stamp and Thin Cut Set. I have this thin cuts. We're going to just stamp direct to layout, so I'm not going to use those today. But if you're looking at this set, I'd recommend getting it with the thin cuts because it makes incredible little die cut flowers. And I think I can show you one I've got on my desk here from another project. The die cuts are just so pretty. Worth getting those die cuts. But we're going to, like I said, just go direct to the layout. I want tiny little stamps. So here is a little tiny one that will just mimic the little flowers, but it's teensy. So I think it's going to be a really good fit. And it's so tiny that I don't think that I need to flip our mat. I'm going to keep this all as is. Bring in some Sapphire ink right here. I'll refer back to our diagram, back to our photo from the catalog. And we just had a few little stamps. Now, mine, I kind of covered up where those stamps would go. So we're just going to make a little trio of these flowers down here. And I did 3 generations of stamping. I like that because it kind of fades out and mimics the paper up here. And we will do the same kind of thing up here. And then we've got some clusters of flowers. Maybe this will go right here. So let's go ahead and commit. Let's stick this little sticker down. Now I know that we had a stamped accent or a sticker. I think it was a stamped accent that was about here, but since we have the other photo, we're just going to move this down. Again, we are just drawing inspiration from Jayma's layout. We're scrap lifting it, but we are definitely changing it to make it our own. And that, I think, is the proper way to scrap lift. Just give it your own unique flair. I am not going to cover this little duck that's floating in the pool, though. I kind of want that there because I do have some touches of honey butter that I did want to bring in just to brighten this page up just one more little notch. And so we'll use that. Now, let's see. We're going to arrange some of these flowers. Love how that looks. I hope you guys do too. I'm going to save just a few of these flowers in case I decide to do a companion page of some sort. I just think that we probably have about enough flowers. I mean, I could put this one, kind of make the title cascade a bit, but I'm not sure. How about right there? I actually do like that. Now I feel like we have 3 of these flowers. So let's just add this one right here. And maybe move this one up if it's not too late, just a touch. I feel like it just flutters away almost like butterflies. And then lastly, I think it would be a great idea to just show you how to back this. Now I know that Jayma put just a little bit of adhesive down right here to anchor. So let's go ahead and do that. We want to make sure that we try to get our top 11.5 by 11.5 piece of white cardstock pretty square. So I'm going to simply run just a little bit of adhesive. And just try to center this, giving ourselves about 1/4 inch border all around. That looks fairly even, so we're just going to adhere that down. Oh my goodness, what a fun layout. Now I'm going to just go back to the sticker sheet because my goal is always to love my stash and use up a little bit. There are these little tiny posies too. Let's just see. They're kind of tiny. You don't really notice them. They almost become like little blue dots. So let's find 3 of those. We'll do 2 down here, 1 up here. There we go. And then maybe, oh, we could do like memories, hot summer days. Let's see how hot summer days. That I think is just a little bit too big for right there, but it might work right there. So I've located my silver glitter gems. I have my largest of my jelly roll pens. This one says 10. And I'm going to just do what I did right here. I just wanted to add a little definition to these little red flowers. I felt like they were getting lost down here. So I'm just putting like little tiny, I don't know, they're like little curved kind of commas along the edge because I think that it mimics the edge of the flower here. Can't even see them up here because they do get so lost. But I feel like that kind of gives it just a little bit of a definition on the edge. We're going to pull out the silver glitter gems, see what we got here. We have a couple different sizes. We've got large and small, and I'm going to put a large one into the center of these flowers as well. I just feel like we need to break up that big blue expanse there. And then the tiny ones I think will work really well. I'm going to try with my tweezers here. These have slid just a little bit in their package. So I'm just going to hold that with my tweezer and pull the carrier out. And I'm hoping that I land about center, and I think that looks pretty good. I'm just going to lift this up so that you can look at the details. I'll just gently remove that from our Versamat. Now I've drawn the little details right there using the white gel pen. We have our glitter, shimmer, silver glitter gems. Sorry, that's a mouthful. We have some stickers that we've used off the sheet and PML cards. We've got 3 generations of stamping with the sapphire. And I just think the whole thing works so well for these 25-year-old photos. I cannot believe that my husband there is about the age that she is now. The years go by, it's crazy. But it's never too late to scrapbook your memories. Again, no pressure. You don't have to go in order. Just do what makes you happy. And this page certainly makes me happy. If you've not yet done so, please hit the subscribe button that you see on the screen. Hit the notification bell. Leave me a comment. I love hearing from you. And be sure to check out the Creative Design Team's videos that will go throughout this week. Thanks for watching.